Hello everyone, I welcome you all in the first lecture on topic profit, loss and discount. As this is your first session, so I limit myself in discussing only the concepts from this topic. Understanding concepts is the key to master any topic from quantitative aptitude. And therefore, my suggestion would be to try to watch this session carefully and sincerely. If required, rewatch until you get comfortable with the concepts. Also, towards the end of the session, you get some important takeaways. So don't miss the end part. And with this, let's start the journey. Now, the first thing which I wanted to learn in the topic of profit, loss, and discount is how to do the calculation of profit and loss. Because this is the most basic thing that one should know. And to understand the same, let me present a scenario in front of you. Let's say I have purchased an article for rupees 100, and if I tell you that I'm able to sell this article for rupees 140, you would say, sir, 140 would be your selling price. So, what is cost price? The money which I pay to purchase an article is called as cost price, and at whatever price I sell an article is called as the selling price. Simple. So if you look at this transaction carefully, you would realize that here I'm making a profit of rupees 40. So if I ask you what is my overall profit here, you would say, sir, you are making a profit of rupees 40. Since I'm making a profit here, so I'm going to use a positive sign in front of 40. So this positive sign indicates that I'm talking about profit here. But if I ask you to do the same calculation of profit in terms of percentage, you would say for the calculation of profit percent, first I'm going to write down the value of profit in numerator. I have made a profit of rupees 40 over which price? You would say, sir, over cost price. And therefore, I'm going to write down the value of cost price in the numerator. Remember concept of base? मुझे कब समझ में आया कि मुझको 40 रुपीज का प्रॉफिट हुआ? जब मैंने सेलिंग प्राइस को कंपेयर किया कॉस्ट प्राइस से। तो जिस भी वेरिएबल से हम कंपेयर करते हैं, जो भी वेरिएबल हमारा रेफरेंस वेरिएबल होता है, उस वेरिएबल को हम डिनोमिनेटर में लिखते हैं या उस वेरिएबल को हम बेस में लिखते हैं. आई होप यू कैन रिकॉल. And once the fraction is written, it is very easy to convert a fraction in terms of percentage. You would say, sir, let's multiply this by 100. And once you do so, you would be able to calculate your profit percent as 40%. Clear? Now guys, if I change this scenario a little bit, let's say cost price is same, but selling price is 80 this time. This time, if you look at the transaction, you would say, sir, I can see that loss is happening here. A loss of rupees 20. So loss in terms of rupees is 20. What this minus sign indicates that I'm talking about loss here. But now if I ask you to do the calculation of loss in terms of percentage, you would say, sir, this time I'm going to write down the value of loss in numerator. A loss of rupees 20. A loss of rupees 20 over which price? Again over cost price. वाई ओवर कॉस्ट प्राइस? क्योंकि मुझे कब समझ में आया कि मुझको लॉस हुआ? जब मैंने सेलिंग प्राइस को किससे कंपेयर किया? कॉस्ट प्राइस से. इसीलिए हम जब लॉस परसेंट कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो उस टाइम भी हम कॉस्ट प्राइस का ही वैल्यू न्यूमरेटर पे लिखते हैं. एंड वंस द फ्रैक्शन इज रिटन, इट इज वेरी इजी टू कन्वर्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज. मल्टीप्लाई. And once you do so, you would say, sir, answer of loss percent would be 20%. What minus sign indicates here? That I'm talking about loss. So this is how we calculate profit percent and loss percent. Now there is one thing which I want you to realize, that for the calculation of profit percent or loss percent, there is something which is common. You know what is that common thing? In denominator, yes, or in base, we always write down the value of cost price. क्योंकि मुझे कितना प्रॉफिट हुआ या लॉस हुआ, इट ओनली डिपेंड्स ऑन वन वेरिएबल, कि मेरा कॉस्ट प्राइस कितना था. और इसीलिए प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस परसेंट का जब भी हम कैलकुलेशन करते हैं, वी ऑलवेज राइट डाउन द वैल्यू ऑफ कॉस्ट प्राइस इन द डिनोमिनेटर, एंड दैट इज द ओनली थिंग व्हिच आई वांट यू टू लर्न फ्रॉम हियर. इफ सम ऑफ यू आर थिंकिंग, सर न्यूमरेटर में क्या लिखते हैं? इट्स वेरी इजी. प्रॉफिट परसेंट के केस में क्योंकि हम प्रॉफिट कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं तो हम प्रॉफिट का वैल्यू लिखेंगे, एंड लॉस परसेंट के केस में हम लॉस का वैल्यू लिखेंगे. दिस इज सिंपल. आई होप यू वर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. Now it's time to discuss the next scenario, and here I'm going to take an example of a shopkeeper. Let's say there is a shopkeeper who is running a business. So if I tell you that he has paid rupees 100 in purchasing an article, तो उसने 100 rupees पे किए to purchase an article, तो उसका cost price कितना हुआ? 100. Now since he is running a business, So definitely he's not going to sell his article for rupees 100. So in order to make profit, what he does, he increases the cost price. And this process of increasing the cost price is called as markup. Let me write it down for you. The process of increasing the cost price is called as markup. Very important. Okay, please remember this term, markup. And whenever we mark up, the price is going to increase because the nature of markup is positive. And let's say after marking up the cost price, the new price is 140. The new price is 140. So if I ask you what is this 140 now? So you would say, sir, this 140 is nothing but the MRP, maximum retail price. At times, we call the same price as mark price or list price. All the three prices are one of the same thing. So please don't get confused. Now let's do some calculation here. If I ask you, what is the total markup done by the shopkeeper? You would say, sir, a markup of rupees 40. कितना मार्कअप किया, कितने से प्राइस इंक्रीज किया? You would say, sir, 40 rupees से इंक्रीज किया. And since markup is always positive in nature, I always use positive sign in front of markup. So let's try calculating the same markup in terms of percentage. Since I'm calculating markup percent this time, so I'm going to write down the value of markup in numerator. अच्छा एक बात बताना, हमने मार्कअप किया किसका? तुम बोलोगे सर हमने मार्कअप कॉस्ट प्राइस का किया. तो जिस पे भी मार्कअप किया, that variable is going to be written in denominator. And once the fraction is written, multiplied by 100. So let us try to calculate markup percent. A markup of rupees 40 over cost price into 100. So can I say that the value of markup percent is 40? So if someone asks you what is the value of markup in terms of percentage, you would say, sir, value of markup is 40%. And we always use plus sign in front of markup. Why? Because markup is positive in nature. So please remember this. Now guys, if I tell you that he has sold his article for rupees 140 only. So what you can realize that his selling price is same as MRP. और जब भी selling price MRP के same होता है, please realize what I'm saying. Whenever selling price is same as MRP, in that case, he will always make profit. So if you want to calculate profit percent, you would say, sir, his profit percent would be same as markup percent. What I'm trying to tell you, अगर उसका selling price 140 है और अगर अब मैं तुमसे पूछूं कि उसको कितने का प्रॉफिट या लॉस हुआ, तुम बोलोगे सर उसको प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. क्यों हो रहा है प्रॉफिट? क्योंकि कॉस्ट प्राइस का वैल्यू कितना है 100, सेलिंग प्राइस का वैल्यू कितना है 140. सो इफ यू लुक एट दिस ट्रांजैक्शन, ही इज मेकिंग अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ 40. सिंस ही इज मेकिंग प्रॉफिट, so can you calculate profit percent? You would say, sir, he is making a profit of 40 over which price? Over cost price. And then to convert, we'll multiply this fraction by 100. And you would realize, okay, I'm getting the same profit percent as the markup percent value. तो हमें क्या समझ में आया? अगर selling price का value is same as MRP, in that case, profit percent is always equals to markup percent. A very important learning for us. And if you have understood this, it is now time to extend this scenario a little bit. So the first thing is saying that he has bought an article for rupees 100 and then he marked up the cost price such that his MRP is rupees 140. कितने का मार्कअप किया था? A markup of 40%. Now due to competition in market, he is forced to sell his article at discounted price. क्योंकि जब जब कंपटीशन होता है उसमें फायदा किसका होगा? कस्टमर का होगा. इसीलिए वो अपने आर्टिकल को 140 पे सेल ना करके एक डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस पे सेल करता है. एंड लेट्स से वो डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस है 120. द डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस इज 120. इफ दैट इज द केस, कैन आई से दैट सिंस ही इज सेलिंग हिज आर्टिकल एट रुपीज 120, this 120 is actually his selling price now? Yeah. Now in this transaction, in what transaction? When he reduced his MRP. So reduction of MRP is called as discount. When we reduce the MRP, the process is called as discount. So let's do the calculation of discount this time. If I ask you, what is the discount offered by the shopkeeper? You would say, sir, a discount of rupees 20. How did you calculate the discount? You simply find out the difference. Difference is 20, and since discount is always negative in nature, we'll use a minus sign. But if I ask you to do the same calculation of discount in terms of percentage, you would say, sir, while calculating discount percent, obviously I'm going to write down the value of discount in numerator. And since discount is always applicable over MRP, so I'm going to write down the value of MRP in the denominator. And then you would multiply this fraction by 100. Once you do so, what will you realize that, okay, the shopkeeper has offered a discount of 14.28%. So someone asks you, what is the discount offered by the shopkeeper? You would say, sir, the discount offered by the shopkeeper in terms of percentage is 14.28%. Now, eventually, if you try to find out his profit or loss percent, you would say cost price is 100, selling price is 120. He's making profit, although the profit is less this time, but he's making profit. And since he's making profit, so let's try to calculate profit percent. A profit of rupees 20 has been made. Over which price? Over cost price. And then you would multiply it by 100, and you would realize this time is only making a profit of 20%. Is only making a profit of 20%. Now, I want you to compare the two scenarios, this scenario with this one. In the earlier scenario, he was making a profit of 40%, same as markup percent. Why? Because he was able to sell his article at MRP only. But this time, since he has offered a discount also, after doing a markup of 40%, he has offered a discount as well, due to which his profit is coming down from 40% to 20% only. So if someone asks you why his profit is coming down from 40 to 20, you would say the reason is the discount of 14.28%. I hope you were able to understand this. Now, another thing I want you to look at, if you look at this setup carefully, now since I don't have space here, so let me show you the same setup in the next page. All right. So if you remember, the price at which the shopkeeper has bought the article was 100. And then what he did, he marked up the cost price by 40%, due to which his new price is 140. And this new price is called as MRP, isn't it? And then what he did, due to competition in market, right? There are many big players. Due to this, he was forced to give discount to the customers, and therefore he offered a discount of 14.28%, because of which he's selling the same article for rupees 120. And then we calculated what is overall profit or loss. And after doing calculation, we got to know this person has gained 20% here. Cost price was 100, selling price is 120. So after doing the calculation, we got to know, okay, he has made a profit of 20%. Now, what I want you to realize, if you look at this setup again, we have learned something in the last topic, that is percentage, which can be used here to find out my answer without using these values. What values? Without using these values, right? So what I'm trying to tell you, if I just try to use these two changes, you would say, sir, since these two changes are happening one after another, क्योंकि ये दो changes एक के बाद एक हो रहे हैं, these are two subsequent changes. So to answer the question, what question? What is overall profit or loss percent? What I can do, I can use the concept of successive percentage change. And once you realize this, you would say, sir, since these two are the changes, a markup of 40% followed by a discount of 14.28%, so these two would be the values of successive. Now, once I realize that I can apply the concept of successive percentage change here, now I have two options. Either I can go by the formula or I can use multiplication factor approach. Now, what to use here? Now, to understand this, let's look at the values once. If you look at this value, 14.28%, it's a percentage value given to us in decimal terms, and therefore I'll go by the second approach, right? I hope you can recall, जब भी हमारे पास percentage value decimals में होती है तो हम second approach use करते हैं, that is multiplication factor. What is the first step? The first step is to convert these changes, these two changes in the form of multiplication factor. The first change, a markup of 40%. Since markup is always positive in nature, it means I have to increase something by 40%. Since I have to increase something by 40%, my multiplication factor would be directly 140 by 100. How did I calculate this 140 by 100? Remember, whenever we use percentage value, if I have to increase something by 40%, what I'm going to do? I'll simply add this 40% to base value 100. And then you will get 140%. 140% is same as writing 140 upon 100. Look at the second change. The second change is a discount of 14.28%. Since it's a decimal percentage value, the first step is that I have to write down the fraction. What is the fraction of 14.28? I hope you all can recall. It is 1 by 7. What is the change? Since discount is always negative, so I have to put a negative sign. So in case of percentage values, what we do? We add or subtract the given percentage value from base value 100. But in case of fractions, right now, if you realize that I'm not using the percentage value, in fact, I'm using its fractional equivalent. So in case we are using fractional equivalent, what I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract this fraction, but not from 100, from 1. I hope you can recall. And what is 1 minus 1 by 7? You would say, sir, it is 6 upon 7. So if I decrease something by 14.28%, its multiplication factor would be 6 by 7. Once I have converted these two changes in the form of multiplication factor, it is very easy to find out the answer now. Okay, let me write down these two changes successively. The first change from 100 to 40, a markup of 40%, followed by another change, a discount of 14.28% from 7 to 6. It's showing a discount. Now let's realize what is going to happen here. So 7, 1, 7, 20, 21, 25. So we'll get a simplified fraction, 6 upon 5. And remember, the fraction is always written in this form, final to initial. It means the initial value is 5 and the final value is 6. In the chapter of profit and loss, the initial value is always the cost price and final value is always your selling price. It means what we are saying here, cost price is 5 while selling price is 6. If this is the case, let me write it down for you. If cost price is 5 and selling price is 6, can you calculate what is happening here? Since it's a positive change, it means we are looking at profit here. How much profit? A profit of 1. So let me calculate profit percent. A profit of 1 always over cost price. And therefore, I'm going to write down the value of cost price in the denominator. And then what is 1 by 5 in terms of percentage? I would say very easy. It's a profit of 20%. Now, what I want you to look at, if you look at the last setup, in the last setup also, we have calculated the same answer, 20%. But by using these values 100, 140 and 120. In this setup, we were able to calculate the same answer but without using these values. We had just used the values of successive percentage change. And again, I'm able to calculate the same answer, 20% profit. So from now on, whenever I see such setup, I don't need to use any real value. I'll just use the values of percentage changes and I can come up with the same answer directly by using successive percentage change. And that is something which I want you to realize from here. So before I end today's session, I want to give you some important points which you have to keep in your mind. And therefore, let's discuss some key takeaways of this session. First, in order to calculate profit percent, loss percent, or markup percent, you need to remember that in the calculation of these three percentages, the value which we are going to write down in denominator, it will always be cost price. प्रॉफिट परसेंट का कैलकुलेशन कॉस्ट प्राइस को देख के होता है, लॉस परसेंट का कैलकुलेशन कॉस्ट प्राइस को देख के होता है, मार्कअप कॉस्ट प्राइस का किया जाता है. And therefore, whenever we calculate profit, loss or markup percent, we have to always write the value of cost price in the denominator. Okay, for the calculation of profit percent, since I'm calculate profit, I have to write the value of profit in numerator. In case of loss percent, I would be writing the value of loss in the numerator. The only change would be while calculating profit percent, I would be using positive sign, and while calculating loss percent, I would be using a negative sign. Since markup is always positive in nature, therefore I would be writing the value of markup. Why? Because I'm calculating markup percent but with a positive sign, because markup is positive in nature. The only thing, yes, which can confuse you, while we calculate discount percent, instead of writing cost price in the denominator, we write down the value of marked price. Why marked price? Because discount is always offered over MRP. क्योंकि डिस्काउंट किस पे अप्लाई होता है? एमआरपी पे, इसीलिए इस बार ये चेंज है। ठीक है, और डिस्काउंट परसेंट ही एक ऐसा परसेंट है जो एमआरपी पे अप्लाई होता है, सो प्लीज रिमेंबर इट। और क्योंकि मैं डिस्काउंट परसेंट कैलकुलेट कर रहा हूं, तो न्यूमरेटर पे वैल्यू किसका लिखेंगे? डिस्काउंट का। एंड सिंस डिस्काउंट इज ऑलवेज नेगेटिव इन नेचर, आई एम गोइंग टू यूज अ नेगेटिव साइन। Once the fractions are written, it is very easy to convert fractions in terms of percentage. Multiply these fractions by 100 and you would be able to calculate these percentages: profit percent, loss percent, markup percent, and discount percent. Another thing which you have to keep in your mind is, whenever someone asks you what is the relationship between markup percent, discount percent, and profit or loss percent, you would say, sir, the way these three are connected, the way these three are related, a markup followed by a discount would result you either in profit or in loss. So the successive effect of markup and discount percent will give us resultant as profit or loss. If it is profit, I'll calculate profit percent. In case of loss, I'll calculate loss percent. I hope you were able to understand this. And so with this, we have come to the end of the first lecture, where I discussed all the key concepts which are required to solve the problem based on profit, loss, and discount. In upcoming lecture, I'll start discussing all different types of questions which can be framed from here. Another important thing, if you find this session informative, please share it among your friends and classmates so that we can reach to people who are really in need. So that is all. Thank you and have a nice day.